Hey everybody, we'll get started in just a moment. In the meantime, while you're waiting, why don't you guys go ahead and use the chat log, and maybe you guys can all share something that you're doing with Girl Scouts in the frigid cold. Are you camping, selling cookies? What are you guys doing to pass the freezing cold time with your Girl Scouts? All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. We have a very full agenda today, so hopefully we will get through everything on time. That is the goal, right? So let's see, some of you guys are planning, a lot of girl planning going on, preparing World Friendship Day, planning campouts, planning Cadet Summit, yay, Cecilia, and Erin, twinsies, yay. Hey, you know, I have a little impromptu incentive for you guys tonight. So what I'm going to say, Megan's like, oh no, what? What I'm going to say is if you are on the call tonight and you have your video camera turned on and we could see your beautiful face, we're going to put you in a drawing and we'll send you a special prize. So that's just a little extra incentive to share the love. We like to talk to your face and not to a black screen over there. So look at all these beautiful people. Fallon's here with us tonight. Megan, Erin, hey Erin, smooches to you too, sister. Okay, we got Tammy. Hey Tammy, how you doing tonight? Christy, Mona's with us tonight too. The lovely Mona. Hi Mona, wave. Yay. All right. That's fantastic. So we got a lot of folks that we just want to see you. So if you're able to turn your video camera on, please do. And this video, this meeting is being recorded. So just in case, we go too quickly tonight, or perhaps you hear the meeting tonight and you're like, oh my gosh, my service team really needs to listen to this. And never fear, because it's recorded, so you'll be okay. Let's see. We're going to be monitoring the chat. I know between me and Megan, we'll be making sure we're taking a look at that. And all right. So my name is Kim Klima. I think you guys probably know who I am. I always have my video camera on so you can see my face. I am the Director of Volunteer Support and Services, and I am happy to be one of your hosts this evening. You also have, like I said, some other staff members that are going to help us this evening too. The lovely Megan Duess is here, and her and I are going to co-facilitate, kind of MC. But in just a minute, you're going to hear from Fallon and Mona as well, and I'll let them introduce themselves as we get there. So, by the way, just a little intro on the tech in case you are not familiar with Zoom. This is the name of the technology, is Zoom. And, you know, you can mute and unmute yourself. We can mute and unmute you also. So it is best if you mute your line in case somebody's talking in the background. I know my dogs have been driving me crazy all day, so I'm tucked away now in my office here. You can chat. There's a chat room. Go ahead and feel free to do that. With such a small group, though, you know, if you have a question or something, feel free to unmute and just pipe in. We'll do the best we can to answer. And also, you could change your view. So you can change your view from speaker to gallery. Speaker view will allow you to see who's speaking at the time in your window, and a gallery view allows you to see everyone all at one time. So, and of course, the video camera is optional. Some of you don't have the option because you don't have a camera, or maybe you're calling in on a phone or something on the go, and that's okay. But we do love seeing you. So if you're able, we're going to put you in a drawing. Okay. So tonight we're going to cover information that was given out at the mid-year meeting, starting with our Girl Experience session, then our Happening Now session, and then we will discuss some important updates and so forth and how to amp up your leader meetings. And also, Mona is here to give you some updates about the membership delegate information, because some of you had asked about that during the mid-year meeting. And so she's here live for you this evening to give you that information. In fact, I think we're going to go to Mona right now. So Mona, take it away. What do you got for us?
Forgot to unmute myself. Sorry.
Oh, here you go.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, and thank you for allowing me to be on the agenda tonight. Just for those of you that are not familiar with me, I'm in charge of executive services and the governance officer for our council. And I'm just going to review some of the membership delegate questions I've heard. So we'll talk about the timeline first. As you know, during the first quarter of 2019, which was October 1st through December 31st, we updated the membership staff and the SUDS about those service units that were up for election. And the information for the membership delegate elections was posted on the Nook. And then the elections occurred in the service units. And then as we started the beginning of the year through March 31st, I will be following up with those service units who have not had membership delegate elections, and I may ask your CMEs to help me with that. But I think we're in pretty good shape. And then our delegate orientation will be in early March. The date is to be determined yet. Probably the first or second Wednesday in March, but I want to make sure the delegates are available. And then the call to meeting will be issued no later than March 6th. It must be in everybody's hands 30 days before the annual meeting. And then, of course, April 6th, Saturday, mark your calendars, is the annual meeting of the General Assembly. And here's my contact information. If at any time you have any questions, I'm always available either by email, cell phone, or stop by and see me at any time. So on the next slide, it's just a helicopter view of what a membership delegate is. Membership delegates are the communication channel of governance matters between the membership they represent, such as the service units, bringing the concerns of their constituents to the attention of the council leadership. Membership delegates are entrusted with responsibility of sharing information as received from the board of directors and/or staff and communicating it back to their constituents and gathering feedback from the members of our council and then bringing that back to us. And in a minute, I'll share with you some things that your membership delegates might and should be discussing with your service units. Membership delegates have voting rights at the General Assembly and vote in the election of Board of Directors, Board Development Committee, and national delegates. National delegates are only elected every 3 years. And next year, national delegate elections will happen, as well as amendments to GSNEO bylaws and any other matters requiring a vote of the General Assembly. So according to our bylaws, membership delegates shall serve for a 2-year, their terms are 2 years, and they serve until their successors are selected and assume office. What this means is if you do not elect a membership delegate at the end of their respective term, they will serve as your service unit membership delegate until a successor is elected. So for instance, if Megan was a service unit or membership delegate of her service unit and her term was up, however, an election did not happen and it was time for the annual meeting, Megan would still be considered your service unit membership delegate. And terms of office begin at the close of the meeting at which the membership delegate was elected. Next slide, please. And these are just the links to the forms, which many of you have already used. So the nomination form, if you wanted us to post it on our website. And then once you had your election, you fill out the election report. And then the delegates that are elected complete the acknowledgement form. And if you haven't submitted your service unit membership delegate election form, if you could do that in the next week so that I can confirm with all the service units that we have the right membership delegates listed for your respective service units. Did I see a question come up?
Let me see here. I do see something in the chat. So there was a question, is that for both girls and adults, 2 years?
Yes. Yes. It's a 2-year term, whether you're a girl or an adult. And as you remember, our new bylaws specify that if your first delegate elected is a girl, you may elect a second delegate who can be an adult or a girl. But if your first delegate elected is an adult, you can only have one delegate. So, and our council is very proud. We're close to a 50% girl membership delegate rate, which I think we should be excited about.
For sure. For sure.
So that's a reminder if you haven't filled out your form. And communications with the service unit. What types of open communication may you hear from your membership delegate? Some of the things that they should come to you about is information they learn through their membership delegate training, which, as I mentioned, will be beginning of March, or on webinars. And the webinars are scheduled on an as-needed basis. Things come up during the year that we want input from everybody on, so that we will be, calling some webinars. The call to meeting, once the membership delegates receive their call to meeting, they should come and discuss any agenda items that may need your feedback. Like last year, for instance, we voted to add 2 additional board members to the board of directors. So that might be something that they would come to the service unit and say, what do you think? And then they should also discuss the agenda items and the candidates for both the board, adult and girl. And if it's a year that we're voting for our officers, as well as board development committee candidates. And then in the next several months, we'll be reaching out to both the membership and national delegates and asking the membership delegates to go back to the service units for input on what proposals and discussion topics are recommended to be submitted to GSUSA for consideration. You know, the last two national conventions, we've tried to get the board to consider, the GSUSA board to consider adding to the agenda about electing girl board members. And we've come close, but it hasn't happened yet. And then any information, I'm currently working on the governance issue of the new e-newsletter, so some items that may be in there. But those are the types of things that you can expect to hear from your membership delegate, or call upon her to report at your meetings.
Great. And Mona, there is a question about, you know, if a girl steps down halfway through the term, do you replace her? I guess that question could be extended to any delegate, right? What do you do if someone steps down?
Well, what you would do is we would wait till the following election, so the first quarter of the following year, and then we would elect. So in some cases that happens, and so you may elect one delegate 1 year. It might be a staggered situation where one delegate is elected 1 year and one is the other, if something like that happens with a resignation. Does that make sense?
I think so. Yeah. So if you do have someone step down, then the next time when elections come around, you can elect someone, and then they would serve for 2 years from the time they start, or just to finish the term.
No, they would do a 2-year term, a complete term.
Okay, so that's where you would get into a staggered situation, perhaps.
Yes, with the revision of our bylaws last year, we no longer have alternate delegates, which is maybe what we used to do. So
right.
They would step in to finish the term.
Makes perfect sense. Thank you very much.
And I just want to thank every service unit team member for all you do for our council and for our girls.
Thanks, Mona. We really appreciate you too.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions about our governance process? I don't see anything in the question log. Hopefully I didn't miss anything. I think Erin's watching out for us too. All right. Very good.
Thank you. I'm going to mute myself, so I'm still here.
Okie dokie. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mona. So we are going to be kind of recapping a lot of our mid-year stuff that we covered on Saturday for those of you who weren't able to make it. And we wanted to start off with giving you a little recap of our new service team member breakfast. We had about 25 people come to this breakfast, and it was really great. We got to extend a big warm welcome to our new service team members, and we even got to have an investiture ceremony. So we had breakfast and got to meet a lot of the new faces. So that was really, really nice. It was really nice to meet everybody.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Quite a few joined as well. So
yeah, we had lots of people join. So just wanted to say a big thank you to everyone who came out to the 2019 mid-year meeting. We had a blast seeing everyone, and we hope that everyone had fun as well. And for those of you who couldn't make it, this was actually, we had the most interest in this event in the past, since I've been here the past couple of years. So that was really exciting. We were really happy to see that. And if you've been to the previous few service team meetings, you know that this one was a little bit different. We didn't do any breakout sessions. We had everybody stay in one room for all 3 of the sessions. The 3 sessions were happening now, where we described current campaigns and updates that are important and relevant to service team members. The next one was how to amp up your leader meetings, where Kim went into a lot of detail of suggestions and ideas for ways to have successful leader meetings. And she even interviewed Crystal Quinn, who has successful meetings in her area. And lastly, we had a girl experience session where team members were able to learn a lot more and really have a deep dive into journeys and programs that are available to girls, and learn how to use the BTK for those programs. And they even got to practice some of the activities, which was really fun. It was a really great day, and the atmosphere in the room was really fun, especially when everyone was working on the activities. So for those of you who did get a chance to go, please don't forget to complete the survey that I emailed out and also put on Facebook on the service team page before tomorrow, February 1st. And like I said, during this webinar, we're going to go over a lot of the information that we covered at that meeting. So, and we're also going to answer all the parking lot questions. And to start us off, we're going to have Fallon do the girl experience portion.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. My name is Fallon Pulley, and I am in our Girl Experience department, and I was here with Debbie Krupa on Saturday, and we did a little bit of a deeper dive into some Girl Experience activities. So first and foremost, I'd like to thank you guys for just giving me a little time to chat about it and debrief. If you were here on Saturday, I hope you guys had a lot of fun with us. It was really interesting to see the different dynamics and the adults actually behaving as girls. So that was really cool to see. So thank you. So with that being said, what we did talk about was we took some time to really dive into some of our resources that we have available with the VTK. So we talked a lot about journeys, where to find them. We talked about badges, where to find them. And we really had the opportunity to kind of hang out and give you guys some hands-on experience. So upon coming into the room, we handed out materials, we gave you guys instructions. Everyone at the table was assigned a specific age level. So we had 2 groups of daisies, 2 groups of brownies, 3 groups of juniors, 2 groups of cadets, 2 groups of seniors, and 2 groups of ambassadors. And every table had materials, and they had instructions for an activity that they were going to complete. So in the very beginning, what we did was kind of honed in on badge activities that you could find available in the VTK. In the VTK, in the very beginning, if you pull up any curriculum, it has an As You Arrive activity. And that's what we had you guys do when you came in, was do an As You Arrive activity. It's usually really quick, it's to the point. It's kind of like an icebreaker to give the girls some time to get to know each other, get their juices going, and really start that good conversation, right? So the activities could have been as simple as taking some time to fill out some screening material. There wasn't anything that was too in-depth, but we just wanted to give you guys an opportunity to kind of do that. As the day progressed, we actually went into the journey activities. And those journey activities did take a little more time. Again, we handed out materials, and everybody had a journey activity to complete. And at the end of those activities, we did give each table an opportunity to report out. So for instance, the DAISY activity, they did think like a citizen scientist, and they had to walk around a room and observe butterflies in their natural habitat. Of course, we didn't have real butterflies. We had pictures of butterflies that we actually took some time and colored, and we stuck them in all kinds of random places. And the girls actually had the girls, meaning adults, had a good time actually walking around and observing and writing down what they saw. I believe it was the cadet group, they were doing Think Like an Engineer, and they had to set up what we call a pop fly. So all they used was a cup, a ping pong ball, a paint stick, and some tape. And they had to figure out a way to get a ping pong to hit a wall. They had to hit a target on the wall. So our idea in doing this was A, to give you guys some really good hands-on experience, and to B, let you know that these things that are in the VTK aren't scary, and they don't cost a ton of money. It could be stuff that you kind of find around the house, and you could really create an experience for the girls. So for you to be able to be comfortable with that experience and to be able to, you know, let them go and let them fly. We also took a little time to look at the VTK. Each table had iPads, and we did a VTK scavenger hunt with a couple of quick questions. You know, where can you find the year planner? Where can you find resources for your age level? And it gave you guys an opportunity to kind of like mill about in there, really get into what's in the VTK. And we do have that VTK scavenger hunt available. So if you guys would like to see that, I would be happy to email it out to you. so that you can do it within your service units as well. Let's see. Geez, Megan, I made my screen so small I can't even see the next slide. There we go. Okay. So we did kind of recap to figure out how easy it was to use those activities, how expensive like you thought it may have been, and would you be comfortable in sharing a little bit of what you learned in doing those activities. So if you guys have any questions about where to find things in the VTK, if you have any questions on best practices, I would always say reach out to your fellow volunteers in your service unit, because a lot of the service units are doing this and they are doing it well. But you can always reach out to us as well, and we can help you find any information that you may need.
Awesome. So there was a question. I think I accidentally changed something in the chat, and you guys were only private messaging me, but I changed it back. Sorry about that. So I'll just mention here, Suzanne enjoyed making new friends at the meeting. And Clarissa asked, has there been any talk about allowing multi-level troops to develop plans that are not necessarily working on the same badge work together? So, I mean, I would say that, you know, one of the newer updates on the VTK is accommodating multi-age level troops and being able to pick and choose different age level pieces and parts for your meeting, you know, kind of customize the meeting.
Right.
And, you know, to be honest with you, I'm not sure if you can go from one journey to a different one, but I think that you can.
You can set up, it depends on the rights that you have in the VTK. So if you only have one age level, like say for instance, you have one troop, you have a Daisy troop, you only have access to that age level. So if you are looking for any other specific age level activities, say for instance, you're trying to pull a multi-troop experience and you don't have access to it, reach out to us, send a note through customer care, and we'll hook you up with the appropriate stuff for you.
Great. That's fantastic. And so then let's see. Why do they limit us by age level? I don't think it was an attempt to limit. I think, you know, they just didn't think of all the possibilities in the beginning. So it's growing and morphing.
And they're adding all the time. I was on a call with GSUSA earlier this month, and they are hoping to add cadet badges, all of the cadet badges, by the end of February. Fingers crossed. So just so you guys know, that's coming, and they're adding a little bit at a time, because it's, you know, a new way of thinking, a new way of working. So they're just shifting.
That's great. That's great. Good news. So fantastic. Well, thank you so much for that recap, Fallon, and the offer to send out that scavenger hunt to everyone. I think, you know, we'll make sure to avail that through the CMEs to the units as well, and make sure everybody, you know, does their best to help spread the VTK love. So thank you very, very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, Megan, I think you were going to do a recap on Happening Now.
Yes, I was going to do go over all of the updates that we gave that are relevant to what's going on now at GSNEO. So first, we talked about our new DP onboarding process. So as all of you know, helping new leaders get started out in their new role is probably the most important thing that we can do to make sure that they have a really good experience. So the first year is really crucial for them to make sure that they want to come back and they want to keep, you know, doing that role specifically. And since August of last year, we have filled 990 new troop leader roles as of last week. So that's a lot of new leaders for us to be onboarding. Service unit organizers are the ones whose job it is to make sure that new leaders are feeling supported, and that they provide help in getting the troop organized and off to a really great start. We're rolling out a lot more updates for our new DP onboarding process within the next few weeks, so make sure you keep an eye on that. And as always, our goal is to make sure that things are easier to follow for new leaders, and easy for them to get on board with all of the new processes. I see some stuff in the chat. Those questions are just a lot of it. Yes, 990 is a very exciting number. Thank you for the enthusiasm. We also talked about a few other things, so there's some bullet points here. First off, the Nook is ever evolving, and one of the coming soon sections that you saw down at the bottom of the Nook has arrived, finally. You can now upload your training records to the Nook. It's sort of like a virtual blue card. So the blue card is what you write down all of your trainings on and get all of your signatures from facilitators. You can now do that online, so that's really exciting. The instructions for that are on the Nook, so there's a step-by-step resource for that so you can make sure you know exactly how to do it. We are also training, have a new training launched for service team members for each of the service team roles. We have orientation videos that we're launching. We have camp videos that will help support your camp training and for your parents to watch before going to camp. We have money management courses, and trip planning is coming very soon. And by now, you should all know that we are launching a mid-year touch base with troop leaders, which is called the Troop Consult. We're hoping to get a better connection with troop leaders and be supportive and minimize the problems that that troops might have with financial recording. We've rolled out a toolkit for the leaders to help them to navigate the Spring Readiness Parent Meeting, which is meant to help them connect with their parents and be ready for that troop consult with their CME or a service team member. This is a really big task, and we know that you are already helping us a lot with this, so we know that together we can make a good team in getting all of this information out to the troops. The next piece was specialized volunteers. In addition to being a service unit volunteer or a troop volunteer, there are a lot of other opportunities for volunteering at GSNEO. Things like trainers, program facilitators, badge bosses, camp coaches, and so on. Beginning February 5th, which is just this Tuesday, we're rolling out a brand new process for all of these specialized volunteers to join GSNEO and get started volunteering in these roles. It all begins on the website under volunteer opportunities, so gsneo.org/volunteer. You'll be able to send people to this site to your friends or your neighbors and anyone that you meet in the community who are interested in volunteering with us. They can go straight to this site and fill out a form and to let us know what they're interested in, and then we will talk to them. Actually, I will reach out to them personally and talk to them about what opportunities are available to them that will work really well for them. So we've been working really hard on this process, and we're really excited to roll it out and to hear what you all think about it as well. Next, Juliettes are girls who are not in troops, so they're independently registered girls. Each service unit has a troop on the roster that starts with the number 2. And this is where all of the Juliet girls live. So non-troop adults also live in this troop. This is where we put all of the people who are not affiliated with any specific troop. These girls are members, and as we know, they should be included. One of GSNEO's strategic priorities for this year is to improve the Juliet program and ensure that we are fully supporting a robust program for these girls and engaging them to the best of our ability. We want to roll out a new service team position in the fall called the Program Coordinator. One of the roles of the Program Coordinator will be to support the Juliettes in that service unit. So more to come, and we will let you know more information at the kickoff meeting, but we just wanted to give you a heads up that that's something that we're working on to help improve the Juliet program for girls in your community and all communities. And lastly, spring renewal is just around the corner again. And hopefully troops have their cookie goals to include that renewal fee if they want to do something like the cookie patch to pay for renewal fees for their troop. And then they can continue the fun and be good money managers and all of that fun stuff. So more information about spring renewal will be coming out very soon. That was a lot of information. So is there anything in the chat log that I need to be aware of?
Let's see. There was some things we were chatting about, but there's a question right now. It's just by putting the Juliettes in a troop, will they be eligible to do cookie booths is the question. And the reality is the 2 troop is not new. That's been around for a long time. It's just the number that we use to house all the Juliettes in your community. And, Juliettes can do cookie booths, but again, a cookie booth has to have 2 girls and 2 adults. So you know, and also the Juliet's, the whole process that supports Juliet's, all the policies and practices, these are all things on the drawing board that we are trying to clarify for everyone. So if a Juliet is interested in the cookie sale, they should be working with the product services staff member to make sure that they know how to navigate that. So the program coordinator, another question, is the program coordinator going to be similar to the GSLE coordinator? So the GSLE coordinator is a position that we kind of rolled out years ago. It really isn't, it hasn't really taken hold or formalized. I mean, in some communities that it probably has, but the ideas are very similar, yes. So a program coordinator is a volunteer in the community who's pretty well versed on our program and can support and mentor other troop leaders and answer those questions about take action projects, about how to earn your gold award, what is a program aid, but also the program coordinator is the one that we're going to count on to help us communicate with all the Juliets. So if my recollection is correct, it's very similar to the GSLE coordinators that we tried to roll this out before. So hopefully this time it'll take hold. Thank you. I know that at the end of the meeting, and thank you, Megan, for that report, we did collect all the parking lot questions and promised everyone responses to them during this meeting. So throughout, like Megan said earlier, throughout our presentation today, there will be a couple places where we pause to answer some parking lot questions. And so these are the ones pertaining to what you've heard so far. One of the questions was, will the virtual blue card training record eliminate the true need to send first aid certifications via email before each camping trip? Okay, so the answer to that in general is no, it does not. However, there is a way that you don't have to keep sending your first aid certificates every time you go camping. So when you can upload your first aid certificate to the Nook, just like you can upload any of your other trainings. And that's why we refer to it as the virtual blue card. However, while you're doing that, just go ahead and send customer care a copy of your card as well, because we can upload it to Salesforce, which is actually the system where we keep all the formal documentation. And we'll put that on your record, and then you don't have to keep sending it. Once you send it in and we upload it on our system, it's there until it expires, then you can send a new one. The Nook is really, it's nice and it's there for you. So technically speaking, if you upload it, we could see it there too, but that's not the practice. We're going to be looking for the actual card that we're uploading to Salesforce. So hopefully that answers that question. The next question was, how can the CME set up the welcome to the service unit date when the organizer is the one who is attending the meeting? And that's a really fair question. In fact, I love that question, because what that tells me is your community's got it together and your organizers are doing this work, and they should be. The service unit organizers are really important to new leaders, and ideally our organizers are setting up those meetings. But that's not always true in every unit. Sometimes we don't have any organizers, and sometimes the organizers are kind of new and relying on the CME. So this is something that is a partnership kind of thing. And whether, wherever you are in the process, if your unit's really good about it, go for it, work with your CME. It's just kind of something we need to collaborate on, okay? So they work together. Number 3, what platforms or apps are you finding successful in regards to communicating with troops and volunteers? So I think this person was kind of asking for information about, like, what do you use that works really well for you guys? Obviously, I'm a big fan of the VTK. It does have some really great communication tools for troops specifically. But what about your service unit? You know, what do you guys use? A lot of people use Facebook groups. What else is there? And we're going to give it a couple minutes to unmute your line and maybe share if you want, or you could put some stuff in the chat group.
Hey, Kim, it's Erin Hosek.
Hey.
My service unit, last year was my first year as director, and I went kind of crazy, and I communicated in 4 different major methods and realized that was not sustainable for my own sanity. So this year we have switched to a private Facebook group, but not all of my leaders are on Facebook. So we use remind.com a lot. And for those of you who haven't heard, Verizon reneged on their plan to pull out of that service. So that's a free texting service that we use mostly. And then I very rarely, I might send 2 emails a semester, but I really try to not email the service unit. And of course, I have an open phone policy. Anybody needs a question, has to call me or text me, either way. So that's what we do.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. I love that Remind app. We use that with our youth group at church a lot, and it's just so helpful. Thank you. Anybody else have ideas or, best practices? What are you guys doing in your unit to communicate besides what we've already mentioned? I know some people are using Shutterfly. Does anyone use Shutterfly? No? Okay. Kim says, we use Band. I stopped doing Facebook, email, text, and too many other ways to communicate. So Band, I'm not familiar with that. I don't know, Kim, if you want to tell us a little bit more, or.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, some people wanted Facebook, some people wanted email, some people wanted phone calls. It was too much for me. I was spending a ridiculous amount of time just trying to get the same communication to everybody. So Band is nice because you invite people to join, and then they set it up as to whether they want to get a text or an email. But I just post it once, and then it sends it to them however they wanted it. And everybody, it's similar to the closed Facebook page in that, everybody can see the post and everybody can post with one another. But it's we had some people that weren't on Facebook, and it just made it a lot easier because it was one thing for me. And I did a hard stop this year because it was driving me crazy. People were expecting too much from me and in my troop as well. And I just said, this is it. We're doing Band. Here's your invitation, join up, and then you'll find out what's going on. So
draw the line. Draw the line in the sand.
I did, and it worked. So
good. That's great. Thanks for sharing that. I never heard of that. It's definitely something I'm going to check into. Olivia says Facebook mainly, but also Remind and email. And Christy says text and Facebook and newsletters. So, and Suzanne said Facebook groups. So thank you everyone for sharing. I would strongly encourage you guys to keep the conversation going on our Facebook group for service teams. So it's a great place for all of us to chat in between time and share those good ideas. And then also the fourth question here on our parking lot was, will service unit finances be available for viewing for service units this year? So I think that what this person was asking was about transparency and, how can the service unit share a glance at that financial record, kind of the way troops can upload, when they do their finances on the VTK, the parents can take a look at that. We don't quite have that for service units, but I definitely think it's important to do a finance report at your leader meeting, if not at every meeting, perhaps quarterly. The troops definitely deserve the right to know what's going on financially with the service unit. Most definitely, this should be a topic that gets covered at your service team meetings. So whether it's just a quick report, something you type into the agenda, or perhaps avail to your leaders. I used to make a copy of our finance report and just keep it up at the front of the room. After the meeting, when people were all walking around and whatnot, if they wanted to take a look at it, it was there for them. But certainly, you got to bring it to mind, otherwise people don't even know to ask. So I love that question, and I love transparency. That's very good.
Can I add something, Kim?
Sure. Yes.
One other thing I want to say about the service unit finance reports is that this year we're only having them submitted via the JOT form. Last year it was kind of a transitional period into just the JOT form. And so when you submit on the JOT form, you should get a confirmation email, and it should be in the email, but you can also contact customer care at any time, and they will send you a PDF copy of your finance report. So, and that will be a printable copy, easy to read. So anytime you want to see it, you can absolutely get a copy of that.
Thanks, Megan. Yeah, and by the way, you guys, we have 124 service units. We still only have maybe 8 that have not submitted finance reports. And of those, we're kind of like in between service unit directors, or there's no bank account. So we worked really hard this year and really got great with compliance, which is, thank you. Thank you very much for doing that. All right, so the last one, and then we'll go on to the next section of our meeting here, is why is the mid-year meeting the same day as cookie booth signups? And so here's my answer. We like to put that challenge out there. No, I'm kidding. It's not quite true. The reality is that both of these dates are very important. The mid-year meeting is a really important meeting. I think you would all agree. And the timing of it, we don't have a ton of options. We really want to keep it in January. We really want to keep it on a Saturday right now. In the future, that might change. And then the cookie booth go live, some people are saying, well, can't you just do it in the evening or, on Sunday? And I suppose that is a possibility. However, if you think about, we have about 2,500 troops. So there's about 2,500 people that are gearing up to hit go at noon and look for their cookie booth. Our mid-year meeting, we do invite about 400 people, get about 100 who come to the meeting. And of the 100 who come to the meeting, there's about a dozen of you who have the task of picking that cookie booth versus having delegated that to someone in your troop or service unit. So I get it that it's kind of inconvenient for a couple dozen people perhaps, but changing it causes a lot of different problems. Now, could it be a different Saturday? Perhaps, but there's a whole lot of work that goes into go live day on cookie booths, and a lot of people working too. Hundreds and hundreds of phone calls being made, things being secured, volunteers coming in to help us with all of that. We want to get the go live to you as soon as humanly possible, and so we don't want to delay it. And if we do it at noon on a weekday, that's not going to work. And certainly our staff has to be on call when this is going live because things do happen and they need to be available. So Sunday at noon is kind of inconvenient for people who go to church and whatnot. So, it really, I get that it could be a little inconvenient. And maybe someday this won't be the case, but it seems like we both have a favorite Saturday in January and it's the same one. So, kudos to those of you who delegated the task, and we'll just keep muddling through the best we can. The answer really isn't that we want to make life difficult for you, but, I appreciate the concern. So, all right. So the next part of the meeting, we talked about amping up your leader meeting. This was definitely something that you guys said you wanted to know more about, and I hope the survey results come back to say that it was helpful. During this time of the meeting, we had a handout where we worked from left to right. We kind of identified the current state of our service unit with some adjectives. What is it like now? And then on the far right of the page, what do we want it to be? And then during the course of this presentation, everyone was encouraged to identify at least one action step that they can take to move closer to the future state that they desire. We explained that 51% of you said this was the topic of choice for the meeting, which is why we chose it as one of our topics, and also that on Facebook, kind of the good news, I did this little informal poll, and the majority of those who answered said that 11 people said that you really are having awesome meetings. Now the others that did respond, the other 12, part of them said that their meetings are like a ghost town and they're not doing good at all. That was the worst answer. I didn't like to hear that. But then also there were 5 who said it needed a boost. And so I'm glad that we got a chance to talk about this important topic. We also talked about beginning with the end in mind. And so really that has a lot to do with vision. It's really important for leaders to make sure that they can visualize what they want it to be like. And if you're cloudy, everyone's going to be cloudy because you're the leader. So we talked about vision, we talked about dreaming for that unit, getting buy-in from the service team and the leaders around you to really cast a strong, solid vision for what you want your meeting to look like. And then, you know, we talked to Crystal Quinn. She's a service unit director in Elyria, and she is a newer director. She was an organizer, and she is a troop leader as well. But she used to go to the leader meetings, and, you know, they really lacked some vigor. When she became the service unit director, she really had some great ideas for amping it up, and so she shared those with us. We also went around and did some interviews in the field in preparation for the meeting. I'm going to take this really big risk right this minute and see if I can't get this video to play. So we'll give it a Girl Scout try. No major promises. I don't know if this is gonna work. Hold on one second. Now my computer's getting all excited. Give me 1 second. Let me put this, I'm gonna share screen 2. You guys still see Crystal over there? Okay. I don't know if I pull this off, I'm gonna give myself a pat on the back, okay? I know you can't. Hold on. Yeah, it's still Crystal. I know. Hold on. I just have to figure out how to move it over there before it's too late.
We did it earlier.
I know.
Back out of PowerPoint. Escape out of PowerPoint.
Oh yeah,
And
it's
then
not.
try to share it. And then try to share it.
It's not in the PowerPoint at all.
Right. PowerPoint's bossy. It takes over everything and you can't share any other window. So
I
back
see
into
what you're
PowerPoint.
saying. Oh, okay. Hold on. Let me.
Okay. Yeah. And then try to share that window again.
Aha. Okay. Let me just bring it on over here.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, it still wants to come over here. Hold on. I'll get it. Watch. This bossy little thing. Watch. I'm gonna bring it over. It's really worth the wait, you guys. Oh, I just went to another video. Hold on. I just pressed the wrong button on accident really quick. All right. Let me try it one more time. Good.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Burrs. I have been a troop leader since 2014, and I have been a service unit director since 2016. I would tell new leaders that it's important to attend leader meetings with your service unit to get the interaction, talk back and forth with other leaders to get ideas. Any problems that you have, you know, there's other people with amazing ideas that have been through the same thing as you, and you'll never know what new friends you make and what new ideas for your troop you'll have.
I am a Daisy Girl Scout leader. I started in the 2017-2018 season. What I appreciate most about our leader meetings is that we get to have input for not only our troops, but our service unit. So we get to say what we like, what we don't like. We get to find out what's working with parents or our kids, and it's just a great way to get feedback.
I went to leader meetings mainly to learn about what other leaders were doing, how they were doing things with the troop, basically to network and learn about different things going on. Because I was a new leader, like I said, I didn't grow up being a Girl Scout, so it was neat to find out. And I had a co-leader who was a Girl Scout. So the leader meeting was a great way to get information. Now that my original troop of girls have since graduated and I have a cadet troop, I'm able to pass information on to new leaders. And I really enjoy doing that, just sharing what I've learned. And I'm also learning new things along the way too.
To encourage attendance by my leaders for the service unit meetings, I went and bought yard signs that said an amazing leader lives here. I drove around to all of their houses and put them in their yard so that when they got home, they were there. And I think they really appreciated that and gave me respect, and I've had more attendance since I did that. I also send a personal thank you note to anybody who helps me during events, or even if it's at a leader meeting, helping me clean up afterwards. I'll send them a little thank you.
I think maybe something that I would add to our leader meetings is like worksheets or handouts or stuff that we can like physically have in our hands to take home with us, you know, so that we can listen a little more and take less notes.
I think one thing I would do at a leader meeting to make it a little bit more valuable is somewhere during the meeting, have a time where leaders who have troops that are similar can get together and just find out what each other are doing. Because sometimes I have cadets in my troop, and I mean, I have a small troop of only 6, so I'd like to get together with another group of cadets, maybe go camping. So it'd be nice if sometime we got a chance to find out who are the other leaders with the same group of girls, so you can do something together.
I feel it is extremely important to come and get information about things that are going on in your community with your Girl Scouts, meeting other leaders. Maybe there's people there who have the same maybe problems or exciting things going on for your troops. You could compare notes, learn how to make things better.
I think for a new leader, what's important is that you're not alone in this, and that there's always somebody who can help you. Everybody has a different strength, so you can get their input and their ideas, and just, you know, that it is a great time to meet other people who are going through it too.
All right, now I just gotta pull it back over here. Oh. Ta-da, ta-da. No, hold on, now it's not gonna stop playing. Just close it. There we go. Back to the horses. Okay. All right, so bring Crystal back up on our screen. There we go. What do you guys think? Got some movie stars among us. Did it play okay? Were you able to see it? Good, good, good. So that is going to go into the Nook under the service team resources, and I hope that it helps some new leaders, new directors when they start up about, you know, understanding a little bit more perspective on leader meetings. And you know, when we were watching this, I saw a lot of people at the meeting taking notes fast and furious. So I have hope that it was very helpful. After the video, we did interview Crystal. She gave some details about some of the stuff that she alluded to in the video, which she did a really great job. She shared about how important it is to make your meetings fun, and also those little things that she talked about that she does and how impactful they could be. And then also we talked about other tips for meetings, and some of them she talked about. Some of them we also heard from Patty Zivkovic from Strongsville, who gave some really great advice remembering leader meetings that she attended that were really, really impactful. So like how you set up the chairs in your leader meeting is important. You know, you don't want people talking in the back of other people's heads. Sometimes you got to prepare a little bit more intensely depending on, you know, the room setup that you have. Knowing people by name, really creating a friendly atmosphere. Bringing some program into your meeting is always welcome by the leaders, although maybe corny, and we talked about being corny is kind of important in those meetings. And then, you know, people gain confidence there, some icebreakers. We, you know, talked about how important it is to be happy and cheerful and not use the time to commiserate, because we want people to leave on a high note and not feeling like they just fought a fight. Crystal shared a picture of her leader meeting. You could see here, you know, the setup just looks like we were expecting folks instead of just kind of squeezing into any nook and cranny we can get a hold of, you know. And we went over some voices data. So you guys fill out a lot of surveys. So we went over the results of those surveys. Good news and kudos to you guys, because 82% of the troop leaders are satisfied with the support that they receive from you. So way to go. That's really great. The leaders also talked about they really like training at their meetings, and so we're working on more ways to get more training out locally. They like to connect with other leaders. They need some time during the meeting to make those connections. That's very important to them. Mentoring and having people, you know, like those program coordinators are going to be really important. Organizers, super important. They need coaches and mentors. We also went over what the leaders, what you guys said about your service units. Unfortunately, only 28 of you responded to the survey, but this is what you said. Most of you do have meetings. Most of you are answering a lot of questions from your leaders. You check in on troop leaders and offer support. You, 50% of you pair new leaders with mentors. That's great. 43% of you offer training locally. 39% attend troop meetings to help support the troops. Maybe your organizers are going to the first meeting. And 36% of you host events just for troop leaders, something to think about. So these are really important things. We did talk about a lot, and then we went and circled back and asked people to share what they captured in their action items. And it was quite a robust conversation. There was a lot of pens were smoking, you know, and so people were taking a lot of notes. Some of the questions that came up during this time: what goal does a service unit need to reach before they can fundraise? First of all, let me change the terminology for you from fundraise to money earning. Girls in Girl Scouting, we don't fundraise. That's what our fund development department does. Money earning is really more about programmatic and goal setting to a specific function or purpose. You know, you shouldn't just raise money for the heck of it or making sure that you build up your bank account, but there should be a goal, a plan, you know, some ideas and things you guys are going to be doing during the year that you actually need funds for before you set out to make any. And a lot of times what people do is because one of the questions, the question about do they need to fundraise or do they need to sell product or how much product do they need to sell? So we know, like in the troop we have per girl averages and participation that's required. The service unit, we don't define that. We don't say like 75% of your troops have to sell 35% per girl averages. Like, we don't get that specific. But the spirit of this is that the service unit is participatory in the product sales, because we know how much that supports our girls and how important it is. So don't go it alone. Make sure your unit is supporting the product sales, and then you can go ahead and do some money earning. The best way, one of the questions was, what is the best way to spend service unit money? Wasn't quite sure what this person's question was getting at. My answer would be carefully. Make sure that you're dialoguing with each other. Make sure that you're being transparent. I think maybe the person wanted to know more about like what types of things are appropriate to spend from the service unit account. A lot of times people are putting donations or deposits down on venues when they're having events, or they'll pay, you know, for camp. If your service unit is going camping, they'll use the service unit funds to reserve the sites and have the troops pay the service unit back. There's administrative costs, you know, those thank you cards and everything like that does cost money. If you're putting cookies and coffee out at your leader meetings, that's certainly acceptable. So I don't know, what do you guys think? I think, Erin, do you want to mention something else?
In my service unit, we actually have started purchasing materials for leaders to use. So for example, this is a bad example because they sold out really fast, but remember when the Goldilocks stuff came in with the first round of the, I don't remember if it was programmers or robots. It was robots.
Yeah.
And they had, so the service unit bought a couple sets so that troops wouldn't have to, and they're available to sign out. We have a set of girl books available to sign out. We are beginning to put together a set of camp equipment for troops that are brand new and don't have anything, so that, or maybe they want to try a night tenting and they don't have a tent. We're going to make those types of things available to them. And then the other thing we always do, every year we march in a parade, and there's a fee for that. So the service unit always covers that for everybody for all of our members. And Olivia, to answer your question about where are we going to store all of that, one of our big goals is to purchase a trailer. And that's probably 3 years off yet. But there is plans to buy a trailer. We've already figured out how to cover insurance. And one of the local churches has offered to let us park at them too. So yeah, that's where we're at currently. And then occasionally we do adult scoutship. We can't afford it since the scoutship has changed. There is a small amount of money set aside for that as well. That's it.
This is Kim, and we're also building up a lot of tents and camping equipment, because none of our troops have it, and everybody can just check it out and then, you know, use it when they want. We're doing a lot of camping as a service unit, so people can come even if their troop doesn't come. You know, the parent can bring the kid, sort of similar to the Cub Scouts, I guess, but it's really just to make it more of an opportunity for anyone who wants to be participating in it. We also spend, I do have prizes every month for people who are attending the meetings. Sometimes it's one big prize and I draw tickets, or sometimes I have something for, you know, everybody who's in attendance. Sometimes it gets donated. Sometimes it, you know, we purchase it out of the funds.
Very good. Very
I do
good.
prizes too. I forgot to mention that. But a lot of the times I go to product sales and say, hey, what do you have from earlier years that you need to unload? And that way it doesn't cost us anything either.
Ooh, I'm stealing that idea.
Free is every Scout's favorite price.
Yes.
Awesome. So I think there's some follow-up questions with regard to eligibility and scoutship, and I'm gonna maybe suggest that you guys have a conversation a little bit offline, just because I want to keep to our time, and we're already over. But maybe we can have more discussion about that at the next meeting. So thank you everyone for sharing. I know some folks asked about the best way to build service unit money. I think for the most part, service units, maybe, you know, tack on a couple dollars or cents to the admission to service unit events. Sometimes troops donate money to the service unit annually. So, you know, you could do a money earning activity from your service unit too. You just have to make sure that you do fill out the application for money earning, just like a troop would do. So there's all of that, and we can continue this conversation as well. I think there's so much to be learned from one another. So we tried really hard to keep it to right to 7 o'clock. I think we did fairly well. I'm very grateful for the dialogue and input and conversation. So not sorry about that at all. But I do want to thank everybody for your time this evening. Are there any last questions or comments from the staff or any of our volunteer friends on the phone?
Kim, do you want to do the little drawing you were talking about?
Yes, I do. Thank you very much. So I wrote your names down on a piece of paper. I didn't want to rip it while I was, while other people were talking. I just thought that sounded awful. But so we had Clarissa and we have Cecilia. You guys make sure I don't miss you. We have Tammy. We have Christy. And we have Erin. Yay. Okay, so I'm going to just roll these pieces of paper, just like.
And me.
Who did I miss?
Kim.
Oh, Kim. I don't see you, Kim.
Did you get April as well?
No, why don't I see them?
I think I had everybody you had, except I also had April Smith.
Oh, I see April. April, there you are. I'm sorry, why didn't I see you? Okay, I'm adding you. So the drawing, as a reminder, you had to use your video camera. We want to see you. Okay, so unless I'm doing something wrong, Kim, I don't see you. I hear you. I don't see you. I added April. Okay, anybody else? All right, look, I'm going to toss them up in the air and pick one. It's April. Good thing we turned in April. Yay. So we are going to send you a surprise. You know, you will get that. You will get that in the mail or through your CME the next time you see her. So again, thanks for your bravery and showing your beautiful faces and for joining us this evening, whether you're on the phone or just just listening in. We really appreciate your time and attention this evening. And to our facilitators, Fallon, Mona, Megan, thank you guys all so much. Hey, you guys all have a really good evening, okay? Stay warm and safe, and until we meet again.
Thank you, Kim. Have a good night, everyone.